NAIT NewsWatch. The situation in Japan hits close to home.
Japanese people and I'm Japanese, and obviously I want the best for them. And
The most sensational trial Edmonton has seen got underway this week.
It really has the makings of a made-for-TV movie.
NAIT students get lessons from a master chef.
We completely use our senses. Smell, taste, color, sound, and also creativity and timing.
NAIT NewsWatch starts right now.
Good evening. It's been over a week since tragedy struck Japan, but devastation can still be felt right here at home.
There are many Japanese people residing here with relatives and friends back in Japan. Our Kevin Snattersey joins us live from our news center with more on that story.
The tragedy in Japan has affected the entire world, and Canada is no exception. Japanese Canadians are grief-stricken about their homeland. Yukiko Denti, an employee at NAIT, moved from Japan 9 years ago. She was on Facebook talking to her friend in Tokyo as the ground was shaking on the other end.
The shake started to get bigger and bigger, and she wasn't able to stand up, so she had to hold a tree on the street so that she was able to, not fall off kind of thing. But
Yukiko still has one friend in Tokyo that she hasn't been able to reach. The 9.2 magnitude quake and tsunami has left over 5,000 dead and over 8,500 still missing. It also induced a nuclear disaster when the backup power in the power plants failed and the reactors overheated, leaking radiation into the air.
just it kills me to see people being so worried about radiation, and it's just we had the same kind of thing with atomic bomb already, and you still see people having cancer from those radiation.
The Japanese Society of Edmonton is planning to hold a few fundraising activities to help with the relief effort. Earlier today, a condolences book was set up. Next month, the center will hold a disaster fundraiser and silent auction. Over at the Canadian Red Cross, officials are supplying the Japanese with shelter, water, and medical supplies using the money people donate.
Given the magnitude and the size of the area that was hit, and the number of people that were affected, because Japan has a very dense population, the need is going to be huge.
Canada has significant trade with Japan, but the long-term effects shouldn't be very significant. Some industries are more affected than others, however, such as the automobile industry and the tech industry. Japan exports a lot of vehicle parts and computer chips to Canada. There will also be an impact on oil.
The world's third largest economy, they do import a lot of oil, so oil prices and other commodity prices have decreased in the last few days. On the other side,
So far, Canadians have raised over $2.5 million, which is a good start, but more is still required.
So, Kevin, should Canadians be worried about the radiation crossing the Pacific and affecting them?
Prime Minister Stephen Harper has talked to a bunch of government officials, and they've said that there is no risk to Canadians in Canada.
What are the different ways people can donate?
Well, I'd like to advise everyone that there's a bunch of fake charities out there, so you got to be careful who you donate to. But Red Cross has a bunch of good options. They have an SMS option. You text Asia to 30333 for a $5 donation. Every dollar counts. Or you can visit their website at www.redcross.ca.
Thanks a lot, Kevin. That's Kevin Snattersey reporting live from our news center tonight.
You're watching NAIT NewsWatch.
It's one of the most bizarre and highly publicized trials in recent memory, and it revolves around a former NAIT student.
The trial of Mark Twitchell has finally gotten underway this week. Sean McClune is at the courthouse with more.
The case is something you'd expect to see in a great mystery thriller story. A man lures another man to a garage, allegedly kills that man, and then the body mysteriously disappears. It's a story that's been played out here in Edmonton over the last week, and it's one that's drawing interest from all over North America.
On October 31st, 2008, Mark Twitchell was arrested on charges of first-degree murder of Johnny Altinger. Prosecutors say Altinger was lured to this neighborhood in Edmonton's South Side, was never seen or heard from again after that night.
Police called it a situation of life imitating art after recovering a script of a movie Twitchell had just recently produced. The script in question describes a situation similar to Altinger's disappearance.
Fast forward to this week, and an additional charge of attempted murder has been added. Twitchell has entered a plea of not guilty to the murder charges, but the Crown rejected the defense's request to plead guilty to the charge of improperly interfering with a dead body. Opening arguments started Wednesday afternoon with an explosive opening statement by Crown Prosecutor Lawrence Van Dyke. Mark Twitchell's plan was quite simply and shockingly to gain experience killing another human being. The accused even compared himself to TV's methodical killer Dexter at times. This has caused for the case to become a prime focus for U.S. networks who have descended on Edmonton to cover the trial.
I think that the U.S. networks being here is no surprise. I mean, it's a very sensational trial. It has the curiosity of the macabre with all the horrific details of it. So it really has the makings of a made-for-TV movie, but in news form.
Following the shocking opening statements, a list of evidence was submitted that would be tabled over the next 6 weeks. That list of evidence includes 72 witnesses to be called, a script that sounds similar to Altinger's disappearance, a 30-page document found on Twitchell's laptop, and even some of Altinger's remains. Reporting from the law courts, I'm Sean McClune, NAIT NewsWatch.
Thank you, Sean. That was Sean McClune reporting from the law courts. NAIT played host to a very special guest on Thursday.
Major Deanna Brasseur was one of the first of 2 female CF-18 fighter pilots in Canada. She was here to talk to students about women in technology.
Let's give a big NAIT welcome to Major Dee Brasseur.
At a very young age, Deanna Brasseur was intrigued with aircrafts and flying. Growing up at military air bases around Canada, it was hard not to fall in love.
And I used to ride my bicycle down the gravel road and stand there by the end of the runway at the fence, and I'd watch the airplanes come over, and I'd turn around and I'd watch them land, and I thought, boys are really lucky they get to do that, because if they let girls do that, I would want to do that.
Skip ahead some years, and Brasseur entered the military, eventually becoming one of the first of 2 female fighter pilots in Canada. With women continually pioneering industries, Brasseur says that women need to always believe in themselves.
The more women that become capable and competent and demonstrate that they're good at what they're doing, the less guys will be resistant to having you as an employee, and after a while, then it becomes a non-issue.
One piece of advice Brasseur has for everyone:
if they have a dream, that it is achievable, that they will be successful.
Now a member of the Order of Canada, Major Brasseur inspires people through her speaking engagements.
Culinary students at NAIT were excited this past week with the presence of Master Chef Susur Lee. As a part of the Chef in Residence program, Susur Lee was invited to spend the week with students, not only teaching them, but mentoring them as well.
Very knowledgeable. He is going around just showing us little tidbits, how to chop an onion more effective, just little things.
Master Chef Susur Lee hopes to teach the students determination, patience, and the right pacing for being a chef.
To inspire them with sort of that old school way of thinking, because that makes you really have a very strong foundation.
The students were put to the test by having to recreate Susur Lee's recipes for a lunch held on Wednesday. The Dean of Hospitality is already planning next semester's Chef in Residence.
A program which helps troubled youth turn their life around is celebrating some real-life successes. Member of Parliament Laurie Hahn was on hand at the YMCA, where the Bridging the Gap program recently got a cash infusion from Ottawa.
With over $277,000 of federal skills link funding, the YMCA of Edmonton has helped 36 youth develop the skills and work experience to find a job or the confidence to return back to school.
The Bridging the Gap program especially made a difference for 26-year-old Greg McKenzie, who grew up surrounded by gang violence, drugs, and alcohol.
They're behind me 100%, you know. Even after I was out of the program, I graduated, they were still there for me.
Help from the program is Mackenzie's inspiration to be a youth worker himself, saying that that is his calling.
Edmonton's multicultural community was given a reason to be excited about finding work at last week's Youth Career Fair. Featuring young talent from around Edmonton, last weekend's Career Day had plenty to offer. Human Resources and City Council teamed up to give multicultural youth the chance to learn about career planning and scholarships. Mayor Stephen Mandel was enthusiastic.
Very excited about the opportunities that we're creating for people and for everybody, not just multicultural communities, but everyone in the city.
About 400 people attended, taking advice and learning from educational and business professionals.
You're able to find out what employers are looking for, what qualifications you should have.
When one is knowledgeable, it shines from within, the radiance glowing beneath one's skin.
Some very inspirational words.
To live through the winter without a home is an experience most of us have never known. But this past week, students at the University of Alberta took it upon themselves to spend a week in someone else's sleeping bag. With a goal of $25,000, these students gave up phones and showers to sleep outside every night for a week.
Can't judge a book by its cover because just being out here, like people walk by us and give us strange looks and comments all night long, and it just you see every day, and it just really hits home now.
Representatives from Edmonton's Youth Emergency Shelter came down to thank the 6 volunteers, giving this event and ones like it credit for 55% of their annual $4.4 million budget.
Coming up after the break, Edmontonians go lights out for a good cause. The city is getting ready to take part in Earth Hour.
Well, the city as a whole, we're encouraging everyone to turn off their lights, power down.
And find out the effects your computer has on your eyesight.
I'm right back there looking again, basically straining my eyes open. Sometimes I'll study and look like this. So.
Coming up in sports, I show you roller derby. Stay tuned.
The city of Edmonton is gearing up for the annual worldwide event, Earth Hour.
And this year, Edmonton can look forward to quite a celebration.
Earth Hour, happening March 26th, is a global lights-out phenomenon led by the World Wildlife Fund to show support for action on climate change. The city is throwing a party at City Hall for Edmontonians to get engaged in the event.
There's going to be fire juggling and a magic show, live band, hot chocolate, bonfires right on City Hall Plaza, and all kinds of fun activities for the family.
You can join in too. Some basic tips for being earth-friendly are turning off computers, lights, and any non-essential power sources like microwaves, toasters, and radios. Also, spread the word. Talking to friends and family help people become more aware of the situation.
For more information about Earth Hour, go to www.edmonton.ca/Earth Hour. So Alicia, the windrows, they've finally been melting a little bit more each day. It's really nice to see the roads finally.
Definitely nice to see the roads. We had some sun yesterday too, and so hopefully it'll stick around. Hey Kyle, what have you got for us? You're hanging out outside there?
It's pretty bright out here actually. The snow is really starting to melt. It's almost like spring. Almost. We're gonna have one more little stint of winter though before we can finally relax and enjoy the springtime. In Calgary, they're gonna have about a 30% chance of getting some snow. It's going to be a low of -8 and a high of -1. Fort McMurray has a 0% chance, so they're getting lucky in that aspect, but it's going to be a little chillier. They have a low of -16 and a high of only -6. Going west to Jasper, they've got a 30% chance as well of getting some snow. It's going to be a low of -9, and they even hit the 0 mark. That's their high for Monday. Here in Edmonton, we've got a 30 to 40% chance of getting some snow. It's probably going to be happening Sunday night, Monday morning. We're going to get about 5 to 10 centimeters, and it's going to be that big, heavy, wet spring snow. We're going to have a high of -4 and a low of -8, which is a little worse than we usually do. We should be around +3 and -6 for our temperatures. It's not as warm as it was in 1910 when it was +19. Really cold in 1899 with a -29.
Weather brought to you by NR92, the station for the students.
It might not be spring officially until tomorrow at 5:21 p.m., but I think I caught spring fever a little bit early. How about you guys?
I can see you did. I am too, but I don't have a cool hat.
Yeah, you're looking pretty good in that, I'm not gonna lie.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks very much, Kyle.
Thanks, Kyle.
That was Kyle Gallagher for sports. Time spent in front of a computer screen is a big part of many people's days.
But too much time can be causing harm to our body. Emily Vaughn reports.
The society we live in today is one that has become heavily reliant on computers.
Between work, school, and at home, many of us spend upwards of 4 hours a day staring at a computer screen, and this has been shown to cause a variety of unpleasant side effects.
Some of the symptoms that you can experience temporarily are eye strain, headaches, blurred vision, neck and shoulder pain, and that's related to the positioning of the computer to your chair, as well as the distance to the screen and the length of time you're spending in front of the screen.
People spending more than 2 hours a day on the computer have been known to exhibit symptoms of computer vision syndrome. These symptoms include headaches, burning or tired eyes, pain in the neck and shoulders, and blurred vision. NAIT student Evan Jubbs spends a large portion of his day on the computer and says he is definitely feeling the pain.
Sometimes I can't even concentrate when I'm looking at it too long. I have to walk away from it, but everything revolves around it, so I'm right back there looking again, basically straining my eyes open. Sometimes I'll study and look like this.
For students like Evan, the long hours in front of the computer are unavoidable, but there are measures you can take to save yourself from the painful effects.
So generally a computer lens is a lens that will help relax your eye from having too much strain. Think of your eye having a muscle inside your eye. That muscle provides, your near vision or your computer vision.
Other steps you can take to make your computer experience more comfortable include taking short breaks every hour, sitting with proper posture, having proper lighting to reduce glare on the computer screen, and having the monitor positioned about 20 to 26 inches directly in front of you. The computer does not have to be your enemy, and by making a few adjustments, you can help yourself to feel better at the end of the day.
So Alicia was a little confused there earlier.
Yeah, Andy is here with sports. Believe it or not, Andy, what have you got coming up?
Oh, I got some good basketball and baseball news coming up. A big congratulations to our very own men's Ooks basketball team for winning provincials this year, and they keep going to bigger and better places. The team is heading to Durham College in Oshawa, Ontario for the big show, and by that I mean nationals. The event is taking place as we speak. It's running from March 17th to the 19th, and Ooks guard Corey Sabin is ready to go.
This is my 4th year playing in the ACAC, and this is my 2nd time going, so I'll remember the experience more.
NAIT is ranked 2nd in the 8 teams going to nationals, and their first game was this Thursday against Montreal's Vanier College, who was ranked 7th overall, and unfortunately they lost 75-73. Take me out to the ball game, especially next summer in the 2012 World Baseball Women's Cup.
And I am pleased to announce today that the Government of Canada, through Sport Canada's hosting program, is providing funding of $100,000 to support this prestigious event.
That's right, the tournament will be taking place from August 10th to the 19th with Telus Field as home plate. The Women's World Cup has been the underdog in the past and will definitely prove people wrong again.
People laughed at the start and clapped when it was all over because they said these are talented athletes.
And special ambassador to the 2012 games, Betty Carver-Dunn, who was on the original Rockford Peaches, featured in the movie A League of Their Own, has something to say to a specific demographic.
I think it's something for the girls to strive for, to see what happens when you get to the top.
The World Cup will have the best 8 teams from around the world to compete in this round-robin tournament. What happens when you cross rollerblading, a track, and some radical chicks? Roller derby. This is roller derby, a team sport not designed for the faint of heart. The rules are simple. You have 2 teams. Each team has 4 players that are the blockers, and the only goal is to stop the jammers. They're the ones with the stars on the helmet. Once you get past the jammers, once you get past the blockers, the team scores a point. If you're shy about trying this, don't be. Anyone with a pair of blades and a wicked nickname can do it.
It's a really, really good sport for women. I'm not an athletic person at all, so it was really nice to get out and meet some nice women and get to wear cute outfits and skate around.
So if you're interested in this awesome sport, the next bout is at Kingsway Hangar between the Black Gold Diggers and the Berserkers on March 26th at 7 o'clock. Tickets are $20. Teen boys, get ready for this one because I hit up the Alberta Cheerleading Association Championships. This past weekend was the 10th annual event for cheerleading, and West Edmonton Mall played host to over 150 teams. They were dancing. The competition had over 150 teams, and there was over 3,200 athletes playing.
Cheerleaders will really develop a respect for the athleticism that these athletes have. They train a lot of hours in a number of skills, from dancing, tumbling, jumping, gymnastics.
The event hosted over 10,000 people to watch these girls do their thing. With all this team spirit in the air, I decided to take on the sport of dance in this week's End Zone Challenge with the Edmonton Crush dance team.
First things first, it definitely helps having a background in dance.
Everyone on the dance team has done something different. Like, more girls are more jazz or lyrical, ballet. Some girls are hip hop, some girls are just cheer.
And flexibility is an important aspect in the sport. After stretches, we pull into the most hardcore ab routine I've ever done. A solid core is very important in dance. Next, we hit up doing the drills. This included doing some pirouettes, and I think I impressed.
That's crazy.
After that, we turned our attention to the bright and shiny pom-poms for the dance routine. That was before I ruined it. Now let's look at me. Memory also has a huge and important part in this sport.
Perfect it. Well, it takes, I guess, one practice to learn it, but it could take forever to perfect it.
And she's right. I mean, it took me 6 years to get Ring Around the Rosie right. So it was a super fun sport to get into, and the girls were really nice. Because, come on, how could you resist the Andy Ferguson charm?
I had a few more questions.
Like, if you had a little bit more practice, you might nail it.
Maybe. Are they looking for a guy on the squad?
No, unfortunately, it's an all-girl team. Sorry, Crush.
Thanks, Andy.
Coming up after the break, our furry friends are given some much-needed love.
The Humane Society helps some felines find a home.
You are bringing home a cat that comes with an extensive adoption package, and it's just a win-win.
Coming up next in entertainment, we're at the El Shamal Circus.
Hair for NewsWatch personalities, sponsored by Cariel Salon and Spa.
Come summer months, the Edmonton Humane Society can receive as many as 50 cats in a day.
So, to make room for the intake, they've developed Wish Upon a Whisker Wednesday, a campaign that makes it a little easier to adopt a pet. Can someone tell Darren?
Daryl Ann and I spent the day at Edmonton's Humane Society. It's hard to understand why anyone wouldn't want this little guy, but he is only one of the hundreds of cats here that just need a little love.
He's chilling. Isn't that adorable? Can you see it?
Wish Upon a Whisker Wednesday focuses on any pet that has been in the shelter longer than 30 days by waiving the adoption fee.
You don't have all these additional costs when you bring one home as you would if you brought one from an ad where it's free to a good home, for example.
As each animal waits to go through the necessary screening process, they don't get as much social activity as the others. It was great to help these kittens develop necessary social skills, and they really enjoyed running around.
You are just so frisky.
So these cats will go up for adoption as soon as they get spayed and neutered, like all the animals at the Humane Society do.
It's really important that we take time to give back to our community and to show these animals love.
So come out and adopt.
So I heard that the circus was in town.
Yeah, I heard that too, and Lyndon got a chance to check it out. So here's Lyndon with entertainment.
For everybody watching, you have nothing to worry about. Trust me, the bells and whistles you heard last weekend were not in your head, but as you probably guessed it, the circus was in town. The Al Shamal Shriners Circus made its return to Edmonton for its 63rd year, and all the usual suspects were out, including the jugglers, trapeze artists, the clowns, and of course the animals. Lions, panthers, baboons, elephants, and bison. Yes, indeed, what's a circus in Edmonton without some homegrown Alberta pride?
Then cowboy, change your ways today, almost you.
And of course the circus is not just to keep the younglings entertained, but there's plenty of excitement for both mom and dad as well. This past Tuesday, the Edmonton Symphony Orchestra played a tribute to a music icon.
In Joe's garage, his mama was screaming, his dad was mad, we was playing the same old song in the afternoon. Sometimes
Whether considered a satirical rocker, a guitar virtuoso, or an orchestral innovator, Frank Zappa was one of the most influential and original composers of his generation. The Edmonton Symphony Orchestra played a tribute Tuesday night to a composer that was one of the first to break down the barriers between rock, jazz, and classical music. The Symphony Orchestra was fortunate to have very special guests, including Frank Zappa collaborator Ed Mann and Zappa sideman Ike Willis, providing vocals for the orchestra's rendition of the late Frank Zappa's music at the Winspear Tuesday night. So if you find yourself with nothing to do this weekend, go check out Bonnie and Clyde vs. Dracula. If you like two worlds coming together, this is one to see.
Thanks a lot, Lyndon. It sounds like you had a really entertaining week.
Yeah, for sure. That's been our show. Thanks for watching. You can check us out online at NAIT NewsWatch.ca.
Have a good night.